Welcome back, traders. It's Thursday, August 20th. It's Rod with POW Group. In today's video, we're going to discuss Tesla's new all-time high and the current run that it's on, and we're also going to touch on the U.S. jobless claims, and then I'll do some technical analysis and dive into some charts for you folks. But before we jump into that, make sure to smash the like. It shows me support on the video, and consider subscribing to the channel. First on the agenda is the economic report for jobless claims. So you probably saw that we were back over 1 million. The reason for that is likely due to the disruption in the $600 unemployment benefit from the feds. So initial weekly jobless benefit claims rose, and it was potentially due to an increase in layoffs after the summer surge in the coronavirus, or perhaps maybe a mix of both, or for more people applying for the benefits after President Trump temporarily added $300 in extra federal payouts. The unemployment benefits rose to 1.11 million from 971,000 from the prior week. And Stephen Stanley of Amherst Pierpont Securities says, "My bottom line is that these data remain extremely noisy and not especially helpful for gauging the health of the labor market. Unemployment is still extremely high. The jobless claims are almost 5 times higher than they were before this whole pandemic happened. President Donald Trump has since ordered reduced federal payments of $300 after a divided Congress failed to agree on another bailout package. Some states began offering the extra federal cash last week, possibly inducing more people to apply." Bigger picture. So the economy is springing back to life because of businesses reopening, and the coronavirus is still rampant, even as new case numbers decline and worries are growing about a big spike coming in the fall. Many businesses, schools, organizations, that type of thing are struggling to figure out how to cope with all this and what's the best path going forward. So there's still a lot of uncertainty in the market, and a recent survey of consumer sentiment shows Americans think a full recovery will likely take years. So that's from MarketWatch. Moving on to Tesla. So Tesla right now is on an absolute tear. It just broke the $2,000 level. We're currently at 2016, so blue sky breakout. Looking at the monthly chart, the RSI is at 90. So I don't know. Yeah, we did see that before back here in 2013. Just after the company IPO'd. So this is potential profit taking, but as we know in blue sky breakouts, every round number, so every $5 essentially from here is going to be a new resistance, and we're going to price discover a lot in this range. So very hard to trade. Just make sure that you have a plan. You're riding either the 5-minute uptrend, or you're waiting until the 5-minute trend breaks bearish. I did put all the trends, so as you can see, they're all bullish for Tesla. Not surprising here. I could have told you that before I started writing everything down. The weekly chart, I wanted to point out that we had a weekly bull flag that we're seeing follow through on now, and we held EMA 12 support, never closed below it the entire time since the March COVID lows. And if we take a look at the Bollinger Bands, we're outside of the Bollinger Bands. So if I were a bull, I would certainly be looking to trim in these levels and potentially wait for a pullback. And another thing to keep in mind is that tomorrow is the first day to qualify for the Tesla 5-to-1 share split. You have about a week to hold that position. And then on the 31st of August, you should receive your 5-to-1 shares split. Moving on to DXY. So the dollar index on the monthly, we see we are flat on the monthly. We're in a monthly downtrend, daily downtrend, hourly uptrend. We're flat on the 15-minute, and we're in a downtrend on the 5-minute. Taking a look, we're not oversold on the monthly yet. On the weekly, we did touch oversold, and we started to bounce on the dollar. Also had a monthly EMA 12 and 26 bear cross. So that's crossing right now. We could be potentially seeing a test down here to 88.25 support. So looking at the weekly, obviously we're in a weekly downtrend, and we touched oversold and then we started to bounce. Looking at the daily EMA 12 has been acting as resistance since 50 days. So if we can close above that, that'll be notable. But the daily bounce was underway, and as you can see, we're pulling back, and we lost the trend there. So we're in an hourly downtrend. So I noticed that we were outside of the Bollinger Bands, and when we closed that candle with a upper wick, you can see the bears took over from there, and a bear flag is playing out as we speak. Moving over to SPY. So SPY tested the weekly EMA 12 support, and we saw a bounce there, which I'll show in just a second, but I did want to highlight the monthly RSI. So we're still struggling on that resistance line. So we did hit all-time highs, but we pulled back. We've been pulling back significantly and quickly. You'll see these slow grinds up and then these huge moves to the downside. So it definitely shows that there's some bear exhaustion, and I do see some confluence in that downward resistance line. So it still seems to be acting as resistance. Monthly is flat. The weekly trend is bullish. Daily bullish. Hourly is actually flat, and the hourly trend now is bullish. So SPY is in an hourly uptrend, 15-minute uptrend, 5-minute uptrend as well. So one thing I wanted to highlight on the weekly for SPY, you can see here we've been holding this. If we use the real bodies of the candles, we've been holding this support line, and we've yet to close below it. So if we close below it, that'll be notable. And we still have the EMAs curling up, testing the top of the Bollinger Bands as well. Today, you can see the volume was very, very low, very, very low compared to yesterday. Yesterday, we saw quite a bit of a notable bear volume. And then today, we've only had 27 million shares. So not even half yet. We've only got 45 minutes left of the trading day. So that volume's absolutely nothing. And we still have yet to break the high of yesterday. So I don't think that the bulls are completely out of the woods yet. And as I mentioned earlier, we pulled back to the daily EMA 12. So that was another reason why I exited my short on when I saw the dollar outside of the Bollinger Bands, when I saw that SPY was bouncing off EMA 12 support. And we also had this rising wedge on SPY, which broke bearish. And I anticipated that bulls would find some support at that EMA 12, as we haven't closed below it in quite some time. So that was, and like I said, dollar was starting to pull back. We had an upper wick outside of the Bollinger Bands. We had SPY pulling back. We also had VIX. So VIX, we have highlighted a couple of times where the daily rising wedge broke. So I'll just draw that rising wedge for you very quickly. So you can see here we broke out of the falling wedge on VIX, but we found resistance. We poked above the EMA 26 resistance, and you can see here we failed to break prior price level resistance, which was 24.90. So we came as close as 24.60, but obviously bears or the bulls on the VIX chart do not have control yet. Bears still in full control of that chart as the downtrend remains. So highlighting the trends on VIX, you can see we're in a monthly downtrend. Everything's in a downtrend. And we do have a potential MACD cross here on the monthly on VIX. Something I'm keeping an eye on. We are testing the low of the Bollinger Bands. So moving on to QQQ. QQQ, we're flat on the monthly and everything else is in a uptrend. And I also wanted to highlight the RSI on the monthly. So you can see here, we're also forming a bit of a monthly RSI divergence, bearish divergence. So the price is going up and the RSI is making lower highs as we trend lower. So we're currently testing that resistance line similar to SPY earlier. So we'll be keeping an eye on that as well. Also, I believe on the daily chart, it was having, yeah, you can see here. So we've been finding some resistance on this daily chart as we continue to form higher lows and higher highs to the upside and form lower highs here on this downward trajectory in the daily RSI. So we are testing the top of the Bollinger Bands now on QQQ on the daily. And RSI is completely hot as well. Everything overbought, hourly uptrends, bulls in full control. Amazing recovery from the bulls as usual, from the low of the day to the high of the day. The bulls are still in full control of this market. We're starting to see a little bit of a pullback here now into the end of the day. There's still 40 minutes left in the trading session. Checking back in on Tesla, $2,011. So bulls still holding the 2K level. Let me know where you think Tesla's going to top out. Where do you think it's going to find resistance, and where do you think the reversal will happen, and where would you potentially be eyeing a bottom? Are you looking to get in? Have you bought before the share split? Are you still waiting to get in? Let me know in the comments below, but also smash the like. It always shows me support. Subscribe to the channel if you like the content, and we'll talk to you tomorrow in tomorrow's daily market recap. Have a great day, everyone.